Welcome into the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. Great show today, folks. We're going to talk a little bit and continue on the theme of aliens this week. And with the government doing everything they can to try and slowly leak disclosure to us, we're going to go to a place where they won't. They want to talk a little bit about things in the sky. We're going to go a little bit further today with our guest, Serena DC. We're going to talk today about alien-human hybrids. Notice that they won't say anything about the fact that maybe these hybrids exist. We're actually going to talk about the subject today with Serena and this wonderful movie that she has out right now, and it's available. In fact, we have a link in the description of this program, so you can go get that wonderful movie. I had a chance to watch it. It's called The Hybrids. It's available right now. Prime Video, I believe, is the link that is where our link is taking you. But I'll tell you, this movie is spectacular, folks. It's got some wonderful people that you've seen before, Caroline Corey, Linda Moulton Howe, and some other experts in this movie. And it really tackles the subject in an expert way, gets right to the heart of the matter, and really digs deeper, I think, than most movies when it comes to getting to this subject. I want to bring in our guest now. Serena DC is an Emmy-nominated documentary filmmaker, director, producer, and talk show host starring in titles Beyond the Grave, My Transparent Life, We Are Not Alone, Contact, The CE5 Experience, Dream Life, and Hollywood Disclosure, which is in its second season. Serena is also the star of the Netflix reality series Instant Hotel. And, of course, this movie, which, again, a wonderful movie, The Hybrids. Ladies and gentlemen, here she is, Serena DC. Hi, Serena. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. What an intro. How are you?
Good. Got to tell you, first of all, I thoroughly enjoyed the movie, and I love the fact that you're bringing this in from different perspectives. First of all, not just the perspectives of some of the old standards, but you're bringing in some people also that are channeling some of these beings, which I thought was interesting and maybe even a little eerie.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's so much diversity in this community that we live in when it comes to talking about extraterrestrials and extraterrestrial life. And the whole hybrid community is this area, this little subculture that not a lot of people know about, but they walk among us, it appears.
That is true. Yes, I got to tell you, I'll share a little story with you here between you, me, and quite a few thousand of our friends here. I do know one, but I can't name them on air.
Okay. You know a hybrid?
I know one personally. Yeah. But again, like I said, I can't name them on air or what they do or where they are. But I've gotten to know this person quite well, and their story's unique. It's very unique in that they know their heritage, their parentage, yet they continue through life relatively normal, right?
Yeah.
And their story is a lot more like what we would think alien-human hybridage is like. When I watch your movie, I was shocked to find out it's not just aliens come down, much like we're accustomed to knowing. Alien comes down, finds abductee, hybridization happens when fertilization happens, in insemination, however you want to put it, forced insemination. Yeah. We're all adults here. We can use the terms. And then wham, bam, here's the baby later, a woman carries the baby who's been abducted. And then that's what we assume the hybrid is. It's an alien father that's given this sperm to a human woman. Right? That's what we think it is.
Well, I mean, that can be true, but I guess it's like when you're breeding a dog, there's lots of different ways and configurations and ways that comes about. So, with hybrids, some of them, they say, are extraterrestrial souls that have chosen to live here on Earth and so have inhabited organic bodies. Others are said to be inhabiting actual people, so people that already have a human soul soul, but are happy to step aside and share their body with a second soul, a soul from another place. Then we have people that channel, so people that temporarily let that entity into their vessel and let that entity communicate through them. But then, like you were saying, the traditional hybrid that I guess we've seen in all of the Hollywood movies, where some form of artificial insemination has happened on a craft, sometimes voluntarily, sometimes involuntarily. And yeah, but it appears that for an extraterrestrial to just come to our planet and be able to walk around in their standard body that they live in on their other planet, it doesn't quite work. Something to do with the oxygen and the gravity and just, you know, the environment in general, which is why there's a need for hybrid programs.
Which blows my mind. There's also some other concepts we'll get to here in the progress of our program that blow my mind too. It just because you haven't been a hybrid from birth doesn't mean that you can't yet participate if you want to be a hybrid. We'll get to that a little bit later.
Well, you could be a hybrid mama or a hybrid papa if you,
right,
you know, that's definitely one way of it happening as well. But it's very similar to possession in a way. Like if you think about when you hear that people have been possessed by a ghost or by a demon or something like that, you know, if you believe that the soul and the body are two separate things and that our body has a soul living in it, then it makes sense that that soul can leave it and other souls could jump into it. And I guess that's what's happening here.
Well, Serena, this is a good place for me to ask this question because this came up from a few different lawmakers that tend to skew towards religious and theological upbringings. A couple of different lawmakers, including our Vice President J.D. Vance, had cited that they believe that aliens are demons. Okay, now it's kind of an interesting take. I know of one demonologist who cites over and over again that, in fact, he believes he's been possessed by something that came to him as an alien and had been taken over, and then he fought these things off. He claims that these things that come to you as aliens, they can shun off basically any religious symbol. There's something that's of a higher rank, as he calls it. Right. I hate to get into the theological thing with you, but I want your perspective as someone who's been looking into this subject of hybridization.
I love to get into the theological aspects of everything, so don't hate doing that. Well, I mean, like I come at it from like I'm kind of a realist, you know, and someone that wants to believe that all things are possible, because the sheer fact that we're human beings and alive and able to have this conversation when we're tens of thousands of miles apart, you know, is magical. And if you asked somebody on the street 200 years ago if something like this would be possible, they couldn't even comprehend the idea, let alone, you know, believe that it would be. And so, you know, when you consider that, then anything and everything is possible, right? And so, you know, are extraterrestrials demons? In general, probably not. Could there be one race that, could there be some demons that are appearing that look like extraterrestrials for whatever reason? Sure. One thing that I've learned being down the rabbit hole for the last 7 years, you know, really studying and researching ET life and all of this sort of stuff, is that there isn't just the greys or the reptilians. You know, our galaxies are infinite. And in each of these galaxies, we have these Goldilocks planets that are able to support life. And what the scientists believe is that if there is life, there's life in bucket loads, you know, and there's not 100 species or races. There's not 1,000. There's not 1,000,000. There's billions, right? So are aliens, demons, blanket clause? No. Could there be a race that is demonic and evil? Sure. Yeah.
What is it then that you believe if aliens are not demons, if aliens are don't have a nefarious reason for wanting to breed with us? What is it that they're looking for from an alien, or I'm sorry, from a human genetic standpoint to cross splice their genes with ours to make themselves stronger then as a species?
Totally. So, again, lots of different conversations I've had with so many different people, and there's different opinions. And I think all of them can simultaneously be correct because you're dealing with multiple species, right? Mm-hmm. So there could be one species that's coming here because they know that our planet is destined for destruction 200 years from now. And so they want to take some of our DNA and splice it with their own so that they can maybe take some of us to their planet to continue on the human race. So that would be a really positive outcome, right? Mm-hmm. And then there are others that feel like they could help us and help our planet by coming here and living among us and working with us and sharing their technology and their knowledge and whatever, but they can't live here in their alien suit. Mm-hmm. So let's splice again. So now that we have an alien soul, but in the body of a human that can sustain life here, that's another positive one. Another one could be that, this is quite common, that their species is in trouble and their bodies are decaying and they need to splice themselves with our DNA so that they can survive. And then there's this nefarious, scary one that seemingly J.D. Vance was probably leaning into, which is that come over here, figure out how to live here, and then take over the planet. And any of all of those things could be true. But for most people that I speak to, it appears as though it's not as nefarious as all of that. They're just wanting to learn more about us and communicate with us and hopefully help us to not kill ourselves.
Yeah. The one thing that kind of puts a monkey wrench in all this really is when you see some of these beings coming down and doing things like trying to take the nuclear weapons away from us, right? Things like that. You go, well, maybe they're trying to help us a little bit from destroying ourselves.
I think so. And, if you're wanting to frame things negatively, you're like, oh, my God, they control the nukes now. They can kill us. But, if that was the case, we'd be dead. And also, what's the point of a planet that's been destroyed by radiation, right? So, I'd like to think that they're coming here trying to disarm those nukes so that we don't kill ourselves. Let me throw a really interesting concept at you.
Please.
This was told to me a few years ago, and when I heard it, it changed. It really, sometimes you have these moments where you're like, oh, everything makes sense now. It was definitely one of those moments. So you know how we live on planet Earth? Mm-hmm. We've got like 180, 190 countries, right? And they're all really vastly different. And some of us get along, some of us don't get along, but we all kind of live on this ball together. And if, God forbid, Iran dropped a nuclear bomb somewhere, it's not just one small place that would be affected, it's the whole planet. The oceans would be filled with nuclear fallout, and the fish would be poisoned, and you'd be eating poisoned fish in China. Right. And so ET species look at the galaxy in the same way that we look at Earth. So Earth is a planet in the galaxy, and they live in the same place, right? Mm-hmm. Might be a bit far away, but same place. And so if we do something terrible to our planet and destroy our planet, that affects the whole galaxy, and ergo it affects them. So some people believe that they're coming and visiting us to monitor us, to watch what's going on, to be on standby if some idiot decides to detonate a nuclear bomb, to save us from ourselves, but not for us.
Yeah.
For everyone in the galaxy. Yeah. And that kind of made sense to me.
It makes a lot of sense. We do a supernatural news program on Wednesdays. And yesterday there was a news article about that Dan Farah, the director of Age of Disclosure, came out in Entertainment Weekly. And he was pointing out that in the first disclosure packet, there was a picture of the Apollo 17 mission. He said it's probably the most significant piece of evidence in that packet. And he said the reason why is when you look at the picture of the astronaut on the moon in the Apollo 17 photos, the one where he's holding up the flag and you see the one craft with the triangle the triangle of lights. He goes, okay, that's just the surface part of the picture. Go in with some filters and you'll see other craft behind it.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
That tells you something. It tells you this, Serena, that there are not only are there other beings watching, they're now looking in on us and going, okay, you've now overstepped your bounds of your planet. What are you doing to that planet?
What are you doing?
Right.
Literally, what are you doing?
Right.
Exactly.
And do we need to step in here and figure out what it is you're doing to other planets? And do we need to give you a warning of some sort? Right? Because you may be doing stuff to your neighbors that we need to warn you about.
It's very true. It's very true, you know? And so I don't think they're visiting us for malevolent reasons. I think it's like the police, right? So the police, you see them driving around. I live in LA. We see them and they're everywhere. And, you know, they're not driving around trying to harm me. You know, they're driving around trying to look for criminals that are doing bad things to protect the greater population, right? And they're, you know, watching and waiting, and they're not going to do anything to anyone. But if all of a sudden a criminal pops out and is trying to kill someone, they're going to hop out of their car and, you know, do something. And I think it's very similar with the ET as well. So it's not that they're here to harm us, but they definitely aren't going to let us harm them.
Makes you wonder if we start building bases on the moon, how they're going to react.
Maybe we have already. Who knows? Some might say we have. Some might say we haven't. Who knows?
Because we're going to be using.
I mean, what do they think of our satellites? You know, I think that's kind of interesting.
True.
It's all coming out though. It's very exciting. You know, like I'm not going to. I often say I'm apolitical because I don't like to get involved, but I haven't been a big supporter of Mr. Trump. However, the guy's kind of got legendary status right now in the UFO community because he did what everyone promised they would do and never did,
right,
which is release those files. And I think it's really starting to change the way that people think about ET life. And it makes me wonder, why now?
Well, let's talk about that a little bit, because there's kind of you almost could say it's a conspiracy within a conspiracy. I mean, he's putting these files forward, but then it seems like we're coming to a bit of a reckoning here in this summer. I mean, not only do you have these files slowly being released, you've got the anniversary of Roswell coming up this summer, right around the time of America's 250th birthday. But at the same time, you've got Disclosure Day coming out, which seems like it is the third act of Spielberg's trilogy, right?
Well, I have a movie, shameless plug, but I have a movie, it's on Gaia, it's called Catastrophic Disclosure. And we actually sat down with like people that are in Washington, DC, and this is about a year and a half ago, because disclosure, like it's been coming for a while, you know, especially when David Grush and other people came forward in Congress and said, look, it's real. And then the videos were given to us from the Air Force showing, you know, them following the Tic Tac. So, you know, we've known it's been coming. But the theory that we explored in that movie was why? Like, why is disclosure happening now? Why not just maintain the silence they've maintained for so many years? And we think it's because they're coming, you know, and catastrophic disclosure talks about the impact that would happen to the government when the world realized that they'd been lied to for years and years and years. And they would realize they were lied to because the ETs had come, you know? Right. And so I know this sounds crazy, but I kind of feel like meaningful contact is going to happen very, 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 very soon. Otherwise, why would they disclose this now? You know, Trump just didn't wake up one morning and, you know, think, let's just release the files. There's something more going on, which is exciting.
It is exciting. You know, or
we're all going to die.
Don't say that.
No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all.
There's actually something kind of eerie in. Oops, I think we might have froze there for a second. There's actually something kind of prophetic in your movie. You have one of the friends of our show, Timothy Hogan, is in your movie, and he says,
I love it.
He gives the date of May of 2026 in your movie. And you can tell it was filmed a little while ago.
Yeah.
That's something, and I won't say what it is. I'll let people go to the movie to figure out what it is. But things are happening here in May of 2026, aren't they?
Yeah, it's not just him, Bashar. I don't know if you've ever heard of Daryl Anker, who channels an entity called Bashar, but he said the same thing. So it's kind of, for me, it's kind of cool that information's in there, and now it's actually happening.
Yeah.
But like I said, to anyone you speak to that doesn't look like some crazed, radicalized, UFO nut, I mean, it is real, and they are coming, and they've been here for a long time as well, but they're coming in a more meaningful way. And it doesn't seem like they're trying to harm us, because again, they have the technology to be able to wipe us out in a millisecond. So they haven't done it yet. Why would they do it now?
And the evidence is physical, and it's there. I mean, even in these last two drops, in the soft disclosure, if you want to call it that, there's video of us firing on these things, and it just, without a scratch, it just bounces right off.
Well, I mean, when you can bend space and time, you just, when the bullet comes, you just make sure you're not in front of it.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple. I don't think they even have great defense mechanisms. It's more just being able to preempt something coming and move out of its way. They say that, and this is so true, the more that we evolve as humans, the better we become at tapping into our consciousness and honing the skills of telepathy. Whereas these advanced civilizations have communicated via telepathy forever. And the reason they do that is because if there's thousands, if not millions of different species around the universe, they're not going to learn each other's languages, but telepathy is universal. Telepathy works with imagery rather than hearing spoken word. And, so contact is just, it's happening all the time. It's happening all around us, and you just need to kind of listen. You'd be surprised what you'll hear.
Yeah, most definitely. I tell you what, Serena, we'll take our break here. When we come back, I want to get into the different types of hybrids that are out there with this movie, The Hybrids. It's, boy, it opened my mind and opened my eyes, really, when I started to look into this movie, and it's a wonderful movie at that. We have a link in the description of this program to Serena's movie, The Hybrids. Folks, you're going to want to see this movie. It's going to change the way you think about what's going on out there with alien human hybrids, and the fact that you're a little more surrounded than you may think. It's quite eye-opening, this wonderful movie that Serena's put out there. Again, the movie's called The Hybrids. We have a link in the description of this program, so you can go check that out. First, I got another thing I want you to check out. I want you to check out Jelly Bean and Julia's this week, our sponsor for the program. Jelly Bean and Julia's is the perfect, not just barbecue spot, but spot in general for you to go get a great meal, some entertainment, and maybe a drink or two. This week, so far, the happy hour specials is what's going on tonight. 25% off all appetizers, including excludes the appetizer sampler. Half price off all single pour well drinks, half price Mick Golden Lights and Coors Light taps, and half price domestic cans and bottles. Tomorrow, of course, that smoked prime rib dinner, folks, every Friday night as it is. Starts serving at 4:30, the 14-ounce and 16-ounce smoked prime rib. Corey smokes those prime ribs for 12 to 14 hours in that wonderful walk-in smoker. Folks, I tell you, I am there almost every Friday night for that smoked prime rib dinner. It's one of the top 5 dinners you will have in your lifetime. I will guarantee it. Comes with that tequila berry salad with the bacon bits and the croutons and that sweet and tangy dressing, that famous tequila berry salad that you know of. It comes with a Boston baked potato and Texas toast, and it is a wonderfully priced smoked prime rib dinner as well. Again, that gets started at 4:30, and it is there until it's gone. And I tell you, it doesn't last long. You want to get there at 4:30, that's for sure. Sundays is breakfast, and breakfast only on Sundays over there at Jelly Bean and Julia's. Of course, you've got chicken and waffles, you've got brisket in the hash, and much, much more. Sundays, breakfast at Jelly Bean and Julia's. Again, Jelly Bean and Julia's, not just your average spot and hangout spot. It is exceptional. In fact, when you're there, your family there at Jelly Bean and Julia's, jellybeanandjulias.com. There's a link in the description of this program. When we come back, we've got more with Serena DC. We're talking about the movie The Hybrids. We've got a link in the description of this program, and we'll talk about what kinds of hybrids are out there, why you may be a little more surrounded than you think, right here on the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. Welcome back to the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. My guest is Serena DC. The name of the movie is The Hybrids, and we have a special link in the description of this program so you can go watch that movie. And folks, I'm encouraging you, go watch this movie. It's going to give you some chills. It's going to make you think about not only what's going on. I mean, we've all, in this community, in this paranormal community, we've just accepted that alien human hybrids are part of this community, and that this phenomena is going on. But this is going to change your mind as to exactly what an alien human hybrid is and exactly how it happens and who around you may be an alien human hybrid and where they are in our society. It'll get you thinking. Serena DC is with us now. Serena,
Hey.
I tell you, it was during the movie, as you're talking to different experts, that one of the ones that first got me, I'll tell you, Linda Moulton Howe always surprises me.
Yeah, God love her.
But
she's amazing.
She is amazing. But it's the fact that she keeps coming back and saying, it was in the document that I saw from the government itself.
Yeah.
That tells me, you know what? I mean, I know Linda's seen a lot in her day. But it's the fact that she was one of the first ones to see the government documents, and she's not one to put one over on us. She knows that the government's been sitting on this for a long time.
Yeah, what I love about Linda is she always has such a relentless pursuit for the truth. We're actually making a show with her on my network, Spark, at the moment, which is so exciting because as she gets a little bit older, I think it's so important to chronicle all of the knowledge that she has inside her. You see her pop up on Ancient Aliens or pop up here or pop up there, and you only get 10 minutes of her, 20 minutes of her. But this woman has got a lifetime of knowledge. So we're really excited to be capturing all of that with her so we can get it all down. But there have been multiple hybrid programs, allegedly, that have been going on across America and in the UK for many years, in particular in the 60s and the 70s. They were called MK Ultra. And they were actually programs where the government were allegedly working with an extraterrestrial race to create these hybrids together. Very interesting situation. And, there are literally tens of thousands of people that have come forward saying they were involved in these trials. So, I mean, one person could lie, but could tens of thousands of people be telling the same story? I don't know.
I'm surprised with the amount of people that are out there that are hybrids, that the secret hasn't gotten out sooner.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. I mean, one thing I was taught when I was very young, because I've kind of had extraterrestrial contact in the periphery of my life, my whole life. One thing I was taught when I was very young is if you go up to somebody if you know somebody that you think just moves a bit differently than your average human, they just are into different things and they're not so bogged down with like gossip and social media, and they're very free-thinking individuals, and you actually look them in the eye and you ask them telepathically using your mind, are you an ET or are you in hybrid? Then they'll reply and they'll say yes. And I actually used this a few times when we were making the show. I used it with Geraldine, who's in the movie. And And I got a yes, you know, and I don't know how to do telepathy, but everyone can think a thought, right? And everyone can pick up on the thought. And that's what I heard. So it's something that I encourage people to do. If you have any kooks and weirdos, you know, people in your life that don't quite fit, ask them telepathically and see if you get a response.
You know, I was part of a group of people that got together with a psychic on the weekends once a month. And there were people that claimed they had past lives as in alien civilizations, which was kind of interesting.
Common.
Yeah,
so common.
Yeah, and it had never resonated with me. It was never something that really resonated with me. And right away, the psychic points at me and goes, "Well, Tim, you never have." So I'm like, "Oh, well, I never felt like I did."
Yeah,
but these different people, when they would talk about these different civilizations they thought they had lived in, like the Pleiadian civilization or whatever. To me, it just sounded like they were writing their own sci-fi novel, right? As they were describing these different places. But there was one person in the group who was describing it like they had just been there yesterday. And I always wanted to go up and go, "Are you sure you're not?" You know, like right now, like, are you sure, like, you don't, like, your parentage, like you're not adopted? You know?
Totally. There's like a little part of you that is. Right. It's interesting, you know, going back to the thing we talked about before about how we have this earthbound view of life. Life is just on Earth and that's where it is, on this one ball. That's all we kind of care about. Whereas these other ETs have this, you know, universal bound, galactic bound view of life. And, you know, when you talk about past lives, really the concept is that there's a soul and it drops into a body, and then when the body dies it goes back to source, sticks around there for a while, then comes back to a new body, and so forth and so on. And we're supposed to learn lessons and evolve until one day we're so evolved, guru level, that when we die we ascend to who knows where, right? Mm-hmm. But if you stop looking at things from an Earth level and start looking at it from a galactic and universal level, then it makes sense that when the vessel dies and the soul goes back to source, now it's looking for another body. What's to say it's not a Palladian or a grey or a dog or a whatever, you know? I think a lot of people probably live a few human lives and then think, I might try out the Pleiades galaxy this time, see what that's like, right?
Right.
So even though it sounds crazy and outlandish, I mean, what's the difference between a soul being reborn in a human again and again, or being reborn in something else? You know, it's just a vessel and an experience.
Might as well take the trip and see what it's like on the other side of the galaxy, right?
Wouldn't you? Well, I'm sorry you haven't done that yet, Tim, but hopefully, you know, in 100 years when you pass over, you can make that decision then, go see something else.
You know what it is, Serena? I have a hard time sitting in an airplane for 4 hours. I think I probably have a hard time sitting in a ship to go across the galaxy.
Yeah, totally.
Probably. The one thing that kind of shocked me when we started to get a little bit into the movie was the idea that there's I'm trying to remember the gentleman's name, but it was, he had brought up the concept that you could not only just have a hybrid that's born, but you could hybridize while you were here. You'd already been born, but you could hybridize a body part. You could hybridize yourself, but you're already here. So for an example, I'm Tim here, already human, already born, but I could run into an alien tomorrow, or I could have a visitation. And if it's,
get an upgrade.
I could get an upgrade. Yeah. Now, the thing I didn't understand, and I think I need to clarify this with you, Serena, because obviously you were there and had the conversation. Have I had to have had my ancestors or my family line had contact with aliens before? Does there have to be some sort of lineage with alien contact before for me to qualify for this, or is it something where...
I mean, the short answer is no. Okay. You know, a lot of people like to create rules and, you know, theories, but I mean, like, you know, we don't even know the nature of what it means to be human, let alone what it means to be a hybrid, right?
Yeah.
But I think that the more that we believe that ET life is real, the more that we start trying to make contact, using telepathy C5, we're going out into a field and trying to see something, the more hybridization via DNA upgrades will happen. Because I think before humanity knew that we were being visited, then it was just potluck. If they visited you, cool, opportunity to be upgraded. And generally, when ETs have been visiting people off their own volition, it's been in a family, meaning they latched onto family X, and then over generations they've come back to that family. But now we flip the script, and we're reaching out to the stars and we're trying to invite them in. We're literally saying, hey, I'm here, I want to see you, come and manifest in my bedroom, kind of thing. And so I think that that's changed now, like if people are asking for the upgrade, and some people are getting their prayers answered,
which is amazing.
I'd like an upgrade. I don't think I've got one though.
Well, I think of all the people who have like chronic disease or have issues with health that probably could use an upgrade, right?
Oh, totally. And again, people think it's so fantastical that you could get a new arm, or you could get a new, or your organs cancer could be removed from them or whatever. But 200 years ago, we thought it was fantastical that you could, cure certain cancers. And, like the medical advancements just on Earth have been absolutely massive. And so add another 1,000 years on top of that, and you've got these beings that just know stuff.
Yeah.
So what they're doing to us isn't magic. It's just, the evolved mind and better medicine.
So you mentioned earlier about this this meeting of aliens that eventually might happen or should happen soon. Do you think with that comes...
Only 3 days left of May.
That's right. Only 3 days left of May, right? Do you think something may happen where with it comes... what's a good way of putting it, Serena? Such advancement with medical technology that we may phase out the medical system as we know it? Like, will they bring that sort of technology with them where they could?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people talk about med beds. Have you heard of med beds before?
No.
So a med bed, you may have seen it in sci-fi movies and stuff like that, where someone's, broken their leg and they're bleeding to death and all this stuff's happened, and they throw them into this bed and the dome closes over the person. They're fixed,
Okay.
So they say that the Pleiadians have these things called med beds, and they have them in their craft, and their craft are floating above Earth right now, and there's many of them. And if you are able to make contact and ask to be healed, they'll take you up to the med bed, heal you, and bring you back. I don't know if that's true or not, but again, it's just they have the technology. They have the technology. If we went to the Amazonian forest right now, imagine the technology we could bring to the indigenous communities that would blow their mind. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just like that. Yeah. But I think they'll come bearing gifts. I mean, if I was going to go to somebody's home, I wouldn't go empty-handed, So, but I think that there'll be a price for the gift.
I was just going to ask, do you think there's a price, and what would that price be? I mean,
our planet has an abundance of natural resources, and some of them we use and some of them we don't, Psychedelic mushrooms is always a fun one to talk about because they've been here forever and we've only just started tapping into their healing properties. So not their trippy properties, but it's taken us this long to work out that mushroom can actually heal PTSD and mental illness, right? And so who knows what a blade of grass can do for a different civilization,
Very true. Very true. Yeah.
So there must be something here that they want. Yeah.
And to that point, I mean, you see a lot of things with USOs, with submersibles. The fact that they tend to have these underwater bases, or they tend to stay in mountainsides, or there tend to be craft that are underground, or there's a reason why some of them are staying here and not necessarily taking off into space and coming back. that suggests to me that there is some sort of natural resource here that they're using or mining or even powering ships with. And I don't know. Yeah, you're right. There is something.
I just think there's just heaps of different things going on with lots of different species, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, one of the channels that's in the movie, Lissa Royal Holt, she sort of talks about how there is a presence here. And they're here all of the time, whereas there's others that are here telepathically through other people. And then there's others that are walking among us. Like it's just there's multiple projects going on. Like, you know, if we went to a country, you know, we wouldn't just go there to do one thing. Like if we were colonizing a country, we want to do like 50 different things. So I think there's lots of different projects going on. And obviously they need to remain mildly covert because in particular in America, where there's, you know, a gun in every second household.
Yeah. That's the other thing too. I mean, I guess we always ask, are we ready for it, right? And it seems to me that the level of apathy at this point is probably as high as it's ever been.
Totally. I think this is the perfect time.
Yeah.
It really is. It's a perfect time. It's so crazy. 2 years ago when we were making that movie, Catastrophic Disclosure, you know, that was the big question. What will happen if they land on the White House lawn? How will people react? And, you know, there's been surveys done and they seem to think that there'll be like an initial shock. Oh my God, aliens. And then there'll be anger at the government. Oh my God, why didn't you tell us? And then world religions will collapse. So there'll be a lot of anger toward religion because all these stories that we've been told about where we came from are not true. So there'll be a big, you know, reshuffling and rewriting of history. But I think unless they're malevolent, people will just get over it pretty quickly. I mean, look at COVID. You know, we faced a global pandemic and we were fine.
Yeah.
We figured it out. We stayed in our homes. We, you know, wore the masks. We adapted.
Yep.
No one really freaked out that much.
Right. And don't you think, a good example, the Pope coming forward and saying, well, if the aliens showed up, they're more than welcome to come by and you know, we'll baptize them, right? I mean, that's
Oh God.
You know, that type of deal. I mean, it's you know, it's part tongue in cheek, but it's also part.
I'm sure that would be top of their list.
You know, that's
hyper focused on being led into heaven. You know,
right.
Big deal for them.
Yeah, but it's also it's tongue in cheek, but it's also kind of, you know, we're willing to welcome them in, you know, type of deal.
But I mean, they just have to do that now. Like, I mean, like it's happening. It is happening. You know, millions of people around the world are seeing craft. Craft are being seen every day by tens of thousands of reports every single day across America, all over the world. You know, their presence is growing. You know, by the minute. You know, it did used to be one craft. Now it's thousands, all different shapes and sizes, locations. You know, more and more people are waking up. The reason we opened our network Spark is because we wanted people to have a place that they could go where they could learn about all of the stuff that us tinfoil hat wearing people have been learning the whole time, because you know they are coming, and it's better to be prepared and to know things than it is to just be shocked and freak out.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about Spark and about some of the programs that we can look forward to on it.
So Spark is a venture that I opened with Jack Osborne, Ozzy Osbourne's son, and Michael Mazzola. Michael Mazzola made Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, Unacknowledged, all the biggest movies in the ET world. And basically we created Spark because we wanted people to have a central place where they could be part of what we call the evolution. Okay, not the revolution, the evolution, because all of our minds are evolving. And one of the biggest mind evolving moments for us is the fact that we're not alone, not the idea that we're not alone, the fact that we're not alone. And so we wanted to create a place where people could watch all of the movies, all the documentaries, all of the series, and learn about what's going on in this universe that we live in, rather than in this earth that we live in. So that's what Spark's all about.
Interesting. Very
Yeah, it's
interesting.
super exciting. George Nuri just came over from Gaia, so he's making a series with us now called Strange Universe, which we're so excited about. Linda, all of the stars are sort of coming over and making shows because they've got these stories that they want to tell and this information they want to share to help prepare everyone for contact.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So come check it out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So with the other thing that came up in this movie that to me was a little bit alarming, the hybrids is what we're talking about. Again, we have a link in the description of this program so you guys can go check out this wonderful movie.
Yes.
There's a scene where, and I don't remember, I don't remember which expert was talking, but they were talking about the fact that these beings are setting up lineages to date each other so that they can get people ready for the hybridization process. Now, to me, does that not creep you out, Serena? Am I a little too creeped out by that?
I mean, in the 1940s, the idea of a white man and a black woman procreating was abhorrent, disgusting, terrible. I'm reading the book Sapiens at the moment, and it's sort of going over, that moment in time in history where like two different races procreating with each other was like disgusting, as was being gay, blah, blah, blah. But, to me, I think this is exactly the same thing. It's just two different sentient, consenting beings, joining their DNA together to see what happens.
See, I look at it more like the old days of arranged marriages. You're putting two people together and you're trying to force a spark there. Whereas it
sounds a bit experimenty as well, doesn't it? Really, what happens if I splice this with this?
Right. Whereas it's not letting nature happen, where two people meet, at a library or a grocery store or something, and there's a spark that happens. See what I did? Spark.
I love it.
See,
I think, well, that's 2026 though. I mean, people aren't meeting in bars and having the spark like they used to, actually one of the shows we're doing on Spark is called Paranormal Date, because what we're doing is matchmaking with people that are into the paranormal, because we believe like-minded people have a better chance of romantic success than opposites. And we basically pair them up and then send them out on like a ghost hunting expedition to see if, while they're terrified, they also fall in love. But I mean, what we are so blessed, Tim, because we live in this wild time where, all of the rules have been thrown out of the window and anything goes. So why not have ancestral hybrid matchmaking?
I guess, sure. I just, when it's put in that context, I don't know. I don't know what it was that creeped me out about it, Serena, but it kind of creeped me out a little bit that aliens
Honestly,
are
I think that
picking our
things will
mates.
change a lot. Like, let's pretend that, that they do make themselves known. It's shocking. Everyone freaks out. And then like with COVID, everything gets normalized. Then at that point, maybe it won't be so arranged. Maybe it would be much more voluntary. But
yeah,
here we are.
But I'm the type of guy, if my mom picked out my mate, I'd be creeped out too. So I'd rather have it be weird. My choice, right?
And I'm hoping that I get one of those hot Pleiadians and not like a reptile, because I don't really... No offense, reptilians, don't kill me. What did you think of Anthony the reptile? The reptilian channeler, Anthony Kalask.
Yeah, he's interesting. He's an interesting guy. How do you first of all, okay, so he says he's reptilian, right? But does he?
Well, he channels.
Yeah.
Reptilians.
He channels reptilians, right?
Yeah.
But do you believe that he might have been descended from them?
I believe, and he's told me that his DNA has been played with, and upgraded. I believe that he's been one before and he'll be one again. But right now he's human, humanish. Be a better way to kind of put it.
Again, I have friends in this community who they talk about experiences of, I was out at a bar, I was hanging out with friends. I go to the bar, a guy comes up to me, this is a female friend, guy comes up to me, says he wants to buy me a drink, turns, looks at me, and then he has the reptilian eyes.
Christ.
And then,
I've heard that too.
yeah.
I've seen that in a few people. Dr. Stephen Greer is definitely giving reptilian.
You think so?
I think a lot of people have said that. I mean, I've spent a lot of time with him up close, and if anyone is, I would put my money over there, but I don't know,
Okay.
No offense, Dr. Greer.
But then it was more than that. It was more than just the eyes. It was this guy had this animalistic, it was almost like pheromone that he gave off. And this friend of mine almost went home with him.
Well, that's what I got from Anthony, interestingly, like the reptilians, they're quite an aggressive race, not meaning that they're going to walk up to you and just kill you randomly,
no.
But they really subscribe to the Japanese samurais, where to die is an honor. Mm-hmm. And if you hurt someone in my house, then I'll kill you and I will feel no remorse, because it was just the natural order of things. And the reptilians, the way he describes them, are very similar. And I think a lot of women get quite turned on by that energy. Like, we don't want violence. We don't want to see people getting hurt. I certainly don't want to.
Right.
But there's something kind of primal and hot about a man that's like, I will defend you and I'll kill for you.
Yeah.
Like, there's something about it, kind of thing. And I think that, like how he portrays the reptilians is very much like that. Yeah. So I can see why your friend felt the allure.
Yeah.
He told me that they have 10-foot penises.
What?
This long.
That long?
This long.
All right.
Which is like a whole other thing.
I know what I'm coming back as then.
You know what I mean. I found that intimidating, by the way, everybody. I do not have a fetish for 10-foot penis.
Well, what do you do with that much? I mean, come on.
I know. It's like, 10 Subway sandwiches. It's like a whole lot of dick. God.
That it is.
We're digressing.
And, I mean, you really can't do much with anything like that. I mean, other than, if you get a leg chopped off, you could probably use it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so, I mean, I don't doubt that they walk among us, right? But with Anthony, he's an interesting character to watch on film. I mean, I was kind of
intense.
Yeah, I was kind of looking at him to see if maybe I saw the eyes and, if there was something there. Yeah. So I definitely...
So we made a show with him for Spark as well. It's called Secrets of the Serpent. And in it, he kind of channels, And when he, I guess, becomes, or when he steps aside to let them in, I think that's how they describe it. It's crazy. He's like grunts. He's like, it's like this crazy, like monstrous sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's a lot of, I don't think I'd like that energy inside me. Much rather channel a Grey.
I've seen people channel not only creatures but gods before. It's kind of weird. It is
weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I'm kind of convinced. I made that movie Interview with the Extraterrestrial with Bashar, with Daryl Anker, and for the second half of the movie, he let me sit down and interview the entity. So he became the entity, which he'd never done before. So I was like face to face with this entity, and Daryl's 73. He's the same age as my dad. And, as people get older, their focus will decline a little bit, I'm in my 40s, my focus is already shot. And for 90 minutes, he sat opposite me and he didn't break a sweat. And he talked for 90 minutes about the most difficult mathematical equations, philosophy, just the most intense things you could ever talk about, with such like an articulate tongue and such confidence and intelligence. And I just find it so hard to believe that a 73-year-old man could have the stamina to be able to just do that.
Yeah. 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 It's tough to maintain that kind of focus.
That shook me.
Yeah.
Like, could you do that? Just sit there for 90 minutes talking about the most intense stuff without, it's a lot. It's a lot.
I can go for a while. I don't know about 90 minutes, but yeah. I've done some pretty intense programs here.
We can bang on, huh?
But but I don't know about 90 minutes. I've talked about some pretty intense stuff on the program, but not.
Well, I mean, it just for me, like, it felt very real. And when the entity left, I burst into tears. And I'm not a super emotional character, I'll cry from time to time, but I'm not like that. And I don't know why it happened. The second the entity left, I exploded in tears and I just sobbed. And the feeling I had that came over me was that I had been in the presence of something godlike,
Yeah.
And then it was gone. It was weird.
So that begs the question. You say you feel like you were in the presence of that entity. Do you feel like it made contact with more than just your physical presence? Do you feel like it made contact with your soul, your heart and soul?
Definitely. I felt like I was being held up by a string. So I was like this the whole. If you watch the movie, you'll notice it. Because I really wanted them we had extra cameras that day to really film my face and really film his face, because I wanted to pick up on any weirdness or nuances that you don't see from far away. And it was like I was like this the entire time, perfect posture. And the second it ended, I just kind of like, it's hard to explain, but it was like he held me there, And then when he was gone, it was gone. It was interesting.
Because there's a difference between being in front of something you're not familiar with and being a little weirded out and taken aback and being sucked in.
I felt shy. And you can tell I'm not a shy person, right? No. I felt shy. I felt deeply intimidated, like meeting President Obama would make me feel very intimidated to go to the Oval Office and walk in there and here's my meeting with him. Like, it would be like really, and it felt very much like that.
But there's a difference between being intimidated and connecting, right?
Yeah.
And it sounds like you connected.
I think anyone that's in the presence of an ET is having some form of connection with them, because their intelligence is so advanced that, language transcends the words that are coming out of your mouth. It's got to do with body language as well. And then also feeling energy and frequency. And I think with them, because they transmit on such a high level, you're really kind of tuned into them as a whole, instead of just your ears hearing their mouth.
So a lot of times, and I watched, I think a lot of us watched the interview with Steven Spielberg and Stephen Colbert that last week of The Late Show. What he was trying to communicate was these beings communicate through love. Would you say that was the main emotion that was communicated in that sit down that you had?
In that exchange? Something different? Yes.
Okay.
In other exchanges with beings that seem to be from different places, no.
What would you say the emotion was with other beings? Or what was the feeling that you were getting?
Well, I haven't had too much contact, right? Okay. Like, I'm trying to be the messenger that conveys everyone else's experiences rather than my own, mainly because I'm very afraid of ET. Not afraid they're going to kill me. I'm afraid. It's just shocking. It's like, if you walked into your house and there was an intruder in your bedroom, and it's just shocking. Even if most intruders are just going to be like, holy shit, and run, like leave the house. I really fear that. I don't know really where that comes from, but I've had a lot of experiences with telepathic contact with ET. I find with grey ET, which are probably the most common interactions that happen here that we hear about, it's very matter of fact. So it's not negative or evil. It's more just, we're here to do a job. We're just going to do that job. No, we don't really want to get to know you. We don't really care about like your emotions or whether you think this experience is good or bad. We need X, Y, Z. So we're going to just get that and then we're going to go, you know? So a coldness to it.
Okay.
Is probably what I say. Then there's other beings that are much more evolved. And so it's sort of like if we were trying to have a conversation with an ant, okay, and we're the ant in this scenario. So they kind of are here for a very high agenda, but only need us for a very small part of that.
Okay.
And so the conversations are almost like, we're just going to do this and you can just stand there or not stand there and we don't really care, but just get out of our way, And then I think with the reptilians, that's like a whole other situation, right?
Yeah.
I've never had any contact, thank God, but I presume it would be pretty, get out of our way. Otherwise, this 10-foot penis is going to,
It's going to do damage. That's quite the weapon to be threatening with. I know that.
I know, the ultimate weapon.
Right.
We'll inseminate you 10 foot away.
From 10 feet away.
You can't escape.
Right. That's a heck of a Slimer there. But yeah.
Totally.
But interesting. I can't claim to have ever had any contact. I've never had contact with anything like that. I think I'm unusual that way.
I mean, there's 9 billion of us, they don't need to be making contact with all of us.
Sure.
But I can tell you this, Dr. Stephen Greer and my business partner, Michael Mazzola, really opened me up to what they call human initiated contact or CE5. And that's something that I've been doing quite intently for the past 5 or 6 years. I'll tell you a story very quickly.
Sure.
It was 2020 and we were all locked in our homes and Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind appeared on my television. I decided to watch it and it teaches you how to make human initiated contact with ET. And I've always believed in ET, never seen anything, never had any experiences that I knew of. And so I went with my partner at the time, Evan, to this secluded location out in the countryside, and we did CE5 and we actually saw a UFO. Didn't expect to see it, thought it was all bullshit, but it wasn't. And we saw it, and it wasn't just a little orb in the sky. It was an enormous, undeniable encounter. And so straight after that, I actually reached out to Dr. Stephen Greer on Instagram and said, hey, I want to interview you for one of my shows. But then we ended up making a movie together called Contact, which was all about us making contact with ET. And since I did that, I have seen so many things. And so from nothing to like all the things. And my entire life has changed. I used to make Hollywood content, be on normal, Netflix reality shows, and I was a talk show host, whatever.
Yep.
Now everything I do is about this because I feel that contact is possible and you can learn how to do it and you can instigate it. And once you realize that you're not alone, your life gets better because you realize that it's more important than paying the bills and going to a dead-end job every day. And, you're part of a galactic family. You're not just part of one planet. You're part of something bigger.
Interesting. Yeah. Very interesting. The only, I shouldn't say I've never had contact. One time when we were doing,
you should try. You should try. CE5.
I did once. When we were on the Jericho cruise, we did a UFO summoning experiment. We did see 3 craft off the starboard side of the ship.
So you have had contact
once.
Yeah.
But that's the one and only time. So
lean into it. You would be surprised. You would be surprised.
Yeah.
Who's listening?
So, but I don't. Well, I shouldn't doubt what I thought I saw with my nephew, but maybe twice. Maybe twice, Serena. Maybe twice.
Here it comes. 5 minutes from now, we're going to have like a full.
No.
Well, actually, now I've got this memory of being on a silver table. And
all right. I got anal probe by a 10-foot dick reptilian. Yeah, that's what happened.
I can promise you one thing, Tim, you'd remember that.
Well,
okay.
I try to block it out.
No regressional hypnotherapy required.
That's right.
Trust me.
That's right. No, I'm kidding. No, that didn't happen. But with that,
that's a good segue to wrap things up.
That's a very good place to wrap it up. The movie is The Hybrids. It's available now. We have a link in the description of this program so you guys can go order that movie, check it out. And again, a wonderful movie. Lots of great stuff in that movie that you guys are going to take away from it. Spark. How do people check out Spark?
So you can check out Spark by going to sparktv.ai, or it's on your phone apps and it's on your TV apps as well. So just look up Spark.
Wonderful.
And The Hybrids is available on Spark, but you can also watch it on Amazon, Apple TV, all the normal places. But if you are interested in learning how to make contact or to go deeper down the rabbit hole with anything to do with ET or UFO, paranormal, personal transformation, then check out Spark. You can sign up for free and join the evolution.
There you go. Perfect. All right. Well, Serena DC, I want to thank you so much for being on the program today. It was wonderful.
Thank you for having me, Tim. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Folks, we're on the weekend, and that means only one thing. A couple of things for you. One, make sure your Darkness Radio Apple app is updated to the YouTube site, which is the original Darkness Radio. Make sure that you are liked, subscribed, all that other good stuff. 3, what else? Oh, yeah. Support the show. Make sure you have your True Crime Tuesday and Darkness Radio swag, which is in the darknessradioshow.com shop. And 4, being it is the weekend and it's been, well, pretty seasonal everywhere. And I know some of you are going to the cabin or doing whatever you do here in the summertime. But remember, you have elderly and disabled people that want to be involved as well. Either take them with you to the cabin or help them around the house with either chores around the house, yard work and whatnot, or help them with spring cleaning. You have members of your community that need help with both. Be a light in someone's darkness this weekend. Help them out around the house or bring them with you to the cabin. Hey, it's a great time, summertime, as we're getting into some warmer weather, and we just all need some recreational time as well. A message from your friends here at Darkness Radio. All right, folks, that'll do it for this week. Be sure to tune in next week for some great programming. For Mally Fox, for Jessica Freeberg, for Beer City Bruiser, and for Travis Thorpe, I'm Tim Dennis. We'll see you next week for the best in paranormal programming. This is Darkness Radio.